This is a fair use video according to the copyright laws of 1976.
Over their oppressors. See, in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, that's when the Israelites are finally going to be able to rule over their oppressors.
Sorry, what's happening in Gaza? And the murders for 3 years.
Hold on, ma'am.
Bombing.
Ma'am.
Hell, isn't that hell on earth?
Ma'am, I'm dealing with her right now. I can answer your question afterwards. It's just rude to the come in.
Are you
But to answer, ma'am, give me that. The revelation that says the all came from the sex. Ma'am, the reason why that's going on in Gaza is because the fake Jews, right? The Jewish man is over there right now ruling. Once the real Jews is in the land of Israel, that's when the whole world's gonna be at peace. No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about the people. When the real Jews are in the land.
This land has
No, in Israel.
This land has its
In
own
Israel.
This land of the map has its own people.
Okay.
Palestinians this is the land of the Palestinians, and this is the land of Jews. Which Jews to live
The Bible says that when the real Jews are in the land of Israel, the entire world's gonna be at peace.
I'm sorry, they're wrong.
So you don't want peace.
I want peace, but you're
So you believe in the Bible?
I believe in the Bible, but your interpretation of the Bible.
Watch this. Listen up.
Just wanted to isolate that really quick because the guy, he was bringing out a class to somebody else about something else, and she just kind of came in and jumped in there about the Gaza Strip and how Gaza's being destroyed. Now he said when the real Israelites come home, that will be over with, and according to Scripture, he's absolutely right. But Gaza actually has a prophecy in the Bible to be destroyed. So let's get it. Let's go over into the book of Amos. Close that down. Let's go to the book of Amos and start at verse 6. Chapter 1, verse 6, book of Amos. And it reads, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for I will not turn away my punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity, to deliver them up to Edom." Oh, it didn't say that. So I'm telling you that the real Israelites, the land of Gaza, belongs to us. That's our land. Neither one of you is supposed to be up in there. Now, if you don't believe me, let me start at verse 1. Let's backtrack a little bit. Starting from the top, Amos 1:1. The words of Amos, who was among the herdmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah king of Judah, in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake. And he said, "The Lord will roar from Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the habitation of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither. Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, 4 transgressions, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Galilee with threshing instruments of iron." So all these places, it's going to keep going on and on, all the way up to Gaza, was destroying Israel. Let's jump down to verse 11 and get to the point. "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom." So you Edomites, like the guy in the video was getting ready to bring out, Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, going in, and let me get it real quick too. Let me read this out. Let me read it out, and then we'll get that real quick. So, I do want to bring it out really quick. So before we go to verse 11, It said, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom. So we got to figure out what was Edom doing? What were they doing? Revelation chapter 2, KJV authorized. Chapter 2, KJV authorized. So I'll show you what. So the guy was going to get ready to bring this out, but so we have to bring this out because he said there would be no peace in Israel until the real Jews come home. So when you go to Revelation 2 and start at verse 9, it says, I know thy works and thy tribulation and poverty. That's us. Because we do the works. This is the works right here. And just living your life a certain way also is doing the works. And tribulations, all of the obstacles that we have to go through just to live a normal life in this wicked society. Remember, in the book of Job, it says, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. They cover the faces of the judges thereof, if not wherein who is he? So trying just to get through this wicked place, we're the ones that suffer those tribulations and the poverty financially. Look how they do us with everything. Always on the bottom. They make sure we stay on the bottom systematically. Let's keep going. But thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because we're doing the works. And we haven't gotten paid yet. Do you guys understand that? It says you're doing works, but over here it says that you're in poverty. And it's telling you that you're rich. But you haven't seen the payment for your works. That's all. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. I'm sorry, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, but are the synagogue of Satan. Oh, that's you negras, because you guys ain't the real Jews. But we were the real Jews when we came here on slave ships. And now these other people have changed their name to Jewish, and they do nothing but evil, and all of that child trafficking goes directly back to them. How do you guys not put two and two? Epstein. Who does he work for directly? Rothschilds. The whole family, not just one. Just remember that. Rothschild, Rockefeller, same family. Just letting you know. Okay, so we know who they are and say they are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. And they've proven who they are through their actions. We've proven through who we are by suffering the curses that you guys refuse to admit. I mean, verse 3, and let's go, this is Revelations chapter 3 and 9. Just to put the nail in the coffin. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. That's how he's lifting the veil right now. He's going to make you know who they really are. I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, who say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. So everybody that, you guys are all going to see that too. You guys are all going to have to understand that yes, that the so-called real Israelites are not in Israel right now. So the whole world is at war until the real Israelites have been set free. They have been recompensed for all of the crimes against them, and then they go home. So you guys aren't going to do that. Yahushua is going to do that. So yeah, it's pretty rough out here right now. But now let's go back over to Amos. So when he was talking about the guy in the video, he was saying that that Israel was never going to stop fighting until the real Jews come home. And so he brought those verses out. So I thought, you know what, I'll just bring them out too. So, but the woman was going off about, but what about Gaza? So let me tell you about Gaza. This is Amos 1 and 6. Thus saith the Lord, let's read it again, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and 4 I will not turn away with the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom. So you guys understand that now? They took the Israelites and gave them to the Edomites in captivity. So, but I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. So what's happening right now? The place is destroyed, completely tore down. And remember, they're going to try and rebuild it into a resort. The Most High already told you, you will build, but I will throw down. So they're not going to rebuild anything on Gaza. Not going to build anything. So now, when we jump down to verse 11, we know who the Edomites are. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. Let's go over that last part again. Let's go over that last part again, because there's only one people on earth that suffered that curse. Let's read it again. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So unto this day, the real Israelites are being persecuted. But let's go over it. I want to break this down. He cast off all pity, no matter whether you're young or old, free or bond. That, watch this. He treated like, I mean, watch. Let me get it in the scriptures. Because now we have to go into the curses, because yes, these curses do explain who we are, and that makes the Christians, everybody gets mad, because they act like, oh, you're just cherry picking the Bible. No, it's a perfect match. It's like when the DNA evidence matches the murderer, everybody's satisfied, goes, oh, we got him. But when we match up 100%, they're like, this is a lie, it can't be true. And then they search the Bible for the rest of their lives trying to figure out a way to stop us. But that just shows that, the brother said it earlier in the class today, he said, that just shows you're just like the serpent in the garden. You told Eve that she didn't have to follow the rules. And then Eve went and told Adam, we don't have to follow the rules. We won't die. So, what are you doing? You're saying the same thing as Christians to this day. You don't have to follow the rules. You won't die. But then all of our people are being persecuted and dying, and nobody's following the rules. So, I'm looking for it. Where is it? 48? Yes, there it is. Because I wanted to show you. Now I know where it's at. That's what I wanted to say. You pursued your brother with a sword. You cast off all pity. So, at the end of the day, we had to serve you as slaves with nothing. until this day. And I mean, what do they do every year? They raise taxes. They raise taxes. They raise the prices on food. They raise the prices on gas. They raise the prices on houses. They raise the prices on cars. They raise your water bill, your electricity bill. They raise your gas bill for your house. Every single year, because of inflation, we have to do this. And then you still make the same wages 10 years running when inflation is taking place every single year. So no matter what, they've got you trapped in a certain type of financial slavery. So they have cast off all pity on you. They don't give a shit. So let me show you something. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Start at 47. And this is the reason why too. Because like I said, we're the only ones that match these curses. They match Revelation 2 and 9, 3 and 9, and anything that has to do with being wicked. So, in fact, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So you know that these people, because they're in rulership and because there's nothing but wickedness that surrounds them, they're living up to their name. They're the hand of the wicked. So they're living up to that title. And so when you go into Deuteronomy 28 and 48, it shows where we're at in this situation, and this is where the Christians and every other person gets mad. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger. Do we own any food? No, they raise the prices every year. Thirst, we got to pay water. Water is a natural given right. You could die of thirst out here because you don't have any water, and you got to buy it. So we got hunger, thirst, and nakedness. Where do you get these? Do you think I built this shirt? The underwear, the pants, the shoes, the socks, the glasses. We get all of this stuff from our enemy. We have to go to our enemy for these things. Not just the Edomites, but every nation. When we want something, we have to go to every other nation except for ourselves. So we have to go in hunger and thirst and nakedness and in want of all things. Like I said, even the glasses. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee. And so how's that? So we line up to that. There's even physical pictures of the yoke of iron on our neck. And see, all of this goes back to, like I said, I'm proving who we are. Because when you go back into Gaza, the reason why nobody's going to be in Gaza is because that land belongs to the Jews, the real Jews. That's why I had to show you in Revelation 2 and 3 and 9 that the fake Jews are there. And I think it's Job 9 and 24, I think. I think it's Job 9 and 24. I could be wrong. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He cover the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So even Job's telling you, man, this earth has been given to a certain people. And the people that I'm talking about line up perfectly, a perfect match to that prophecy that the earth would be given to. So now we're over here suffering the curses, proving who we are through the curses. And I mean, it says, let's go over it again though, just one more time, because it said that that because they showed no mercy, they showed no mercy to us. Let me show you one of the things that they do unto this day. And when they tell you that we're all good and everybody's this, that, and the third, they're not. They show no mercy unto us. So let's get it really quick. Deuteronomy 28 and 32. It reads, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people, and thine eyes shall look and fall with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. See, that happened during the transatlantic slave trade when our kids were like 3 years old. You made sure to put them on different plantations because you didn't want the families to grow up together and grow strong together. So you did all of these horrific things to us. But clearly, the scriptures even tell us that there's nothing we can do about it, that we would be in this slavery. We should have followed the instructions. Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Why? Because they'll show no mercy on you. They're showing no mercy. So it tells you, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee. Who's the main lender out there? Lending to nations right now. Lending to other nations. Funding both sides of each war. Man, come on, guys. Moreover, let me read it again. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. It tells you that your kids are going to go into captivity. He tells you that. In fact, they tell you that they're going to take your kids and you'll never enjoy them. Do you know that in verse 60, what is it? Where is it? Verse 53, your kids go into captivity. We're hearing about these Epstein files. We're hearing about certain types of food they like to eat. Remember the jerky and all this other stuff, and they make all of these weird references on TV. It looks like the Kentucky Fried Chicken looking like a person, looking like a fried person. So let's read it. It says, this is a prophecy in Deuteronomy 28 and 53 against the Israelites for not following the laws. See, the whole point of this, I know I'm going way in on Deuteronomy, but you guys have to understand, there's only one people that line up to all these curses. Nobody else does. So this woman's screaming about Gaza. Well, Gaza's going to get burnt down and never be put back together again. So let me finish this out, and then we're going back over to just put some more nails in Gaza, and we'll call it a day. So, thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, which the Lord Yahweh hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So it's telling you, you know what? You know, all these fast food places there's not enough cows in America for as many fast food burgers that are going out every day. And McDonald's already got busted for having human flesh in their meat packing plants. That wasn't a joke. That really happened, 99% of them. Okay, going back into it. You lost your children. Your children are now, there's a picture being painted that they might just end up in your burger, which is true. Here's the other picture. What happened to us in biblical times? It said that he'll put a yoke of iron upon our neck until we're destroyed. So how did we get that yoke of iron? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now for all you stupid dummies, hold on, I got a stupid dummy. I'll show you, because this stupid dummy doesn't know what the Bible says. I have to bring it up because he went in on how we didn't. He literally broke down no word. Every word that he read it for what it was. Each word. And then he tried to bring in 70 AD, which when you do the cranial exams, I've got classes on it, even in 70 AD. That was us too. That was the real Israelites. That wasn't Jewish people. They were taking the real Israelites out to sea. They lured them out there and killed them. What the? Our people. What are you guys talking about? So anyway, And the Lord shall bring you back into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. So the guy's like, see, it says no man will buy you. That's insulting to like even a retarded person's intelligence. So let me read this verse and break down the words so you guys understand. So I'm going to bring you back into slavery again with slave ships. Okay, that's what it's saying. The word Egypt is a Roman word. It's not an Egyptian word. There's no such thing as Egyptian. It's called Mezarim. That's right. Canaan had sons, and one son was Mezarim. And Mezarim liked to build cities. That's where you get Egypt from. So, anyway, back to it. So you will go back into slavery. The word Egypt means bondage, which means slavery. You will go back into slavery again because we were in slavery during the time of Egypt, and Moses had us removed during the Exodus. So you will go back into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. So the way we went into slavery, you're never going to see it happen like that before in history, and you're never going to see us go into slavery again in history. Why? Because we're still in slavery. That's why it says you'll wear a yoke of iron upon thy neck until thou be destroyed. That's why you can't pay your bills no matter how hard you work, because they've got you set up. They've got me set up too. Shit, I'm negative in my accounts. I ain't fucking doing nothing. I'm over here just like everybody else, struggling. Just like everybody else. So, thou shalt see it no more again. It means that the way we're in slavery, the way we went in to this slavery, you're never going to see it like that before in history, and you're never going to see us like that again in history. That's why it says you'll see it no more again. Okay? And there you shall be sold unto your enemies. So it tells you that you're being sold, but no one's going to buy you. The word that what they did right here in the King James, we can go to the Wycliffe Bible, and it'll tell you no man will set you free. To be set free, that means to buy your freedom. You could get Freeman papers. What was Grandpa's last name in the cartoon Boondocks? Free man. Why do you keep that's why when the whatever his name is, the Onceler, whatever his name is, comes in, who owns everything, he goes, hello, free man, because he's racist. He's a racist corporate. But the word freeman is what you would be called on your paper during the time of slavery. So during the time of slavery, you would become a freeman if somebody would give you your freedom papers. So you have your papers. I got my papers right here. Everybody got my papers right here. Gotta keep money at all times so they know I'm a freeman. So no man will buy you. No man will buy your freedom. So who matches up to all that? We do. And you know how I know? Because you gotta fucking ask to use the bathroom. You gotta ask to cross the street. Well, you gotta wait, you know what I'm saying? You gotta follow rules for everything. You can't leave the country, and don't tell me you can leave the country without getting a passport. What is a passport? Permission. You have to tell them how long you're gonna be gone, when you're going, where you're staying, what you're gonna be doing there, and then when you're gonna be back. That is called asking permission. That is not freedom. If you decide that you don't want to have to have you don't want to register your car, even though it runs perfect. Oh, we're not doing that sovereign citizen over here, and it's like, in other words, if you guys knew the laws, we don't even have to do none of that stuff. They just enforce it anyway. So the laws say that we don't. But so anyway, they oppress us on every single level, and we're still under captivity unto this day. If you think you're not in captivity, go into a place and take something. Go just do something without paying and see if they don't put you in jail. In fact, you can't have food without paying. You can't have water without paying. You literally can't have life without paying. You can't really live in America and then now it's illegal to be homeless. So if you're not paying and you're homeless, you're really in big trouble. You see what I'm saying? Like a woman in, where was she, in Arizona? Or I forget what state it was. She was feeding the homeless. So they pulled up on her and then arrested her. And it was for feeding the homeless. They told her to get out the car, and she didn't want to get out the car and all that. She said that then she started telling the camera how it happened before. But it's illegal to be homeless. So you see, you're a fucking slave. Whether you like it or not, either you work or you go to jail. That's what they're doing. And some people think that so-called black people should just be full-time slaves at all times. Do you know that? They're public about it. So just to let you know. And they're trying to push for our next generation, for everybody to just think that this is just the way life is. We're supposed to be slaves. So now that we've proven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that Israelites have been going through this for not hundreds but thousands of years, but here for the last couple hundred years. Now we're completely destroyed. We don't know who we are. So the yoke of iron, the physical slave bondage, has been removed. And the reason why they want to bring back that physical slave bondage is because we're starting to wake up again. They don't want us to know who we are. They don't want us to know that the Most High made us the leaders of the earth, the rulers over everything. Everybody hates hearing that. But we line up to all of the prophecies. And our enemies line up to the prophecies of the enemy. And we know that. So let's go back into it. So now back to Amos. So and we have to read it one more time because it was saying, why? Because you cast off all pity. Everything I just said in the book of Deuteronomy for like the last 10 or 15 minutes is literally casting off all pity. It's having anger that tore perpetually. Because these things are being done to us. And I can prove, going back over to it, that an eagle would come from afar, a nation that fly, a nation that fly, that from afar, that have no pity on young or old, that fly swift, let me bring it up, now I gotta go back one more time. We gotta go one more time. 64, I think, is what it is. Because it says, we'll start at 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. That's why you guys are Muslims and Christians all up on this guy talking about Gaza in the first place. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth unto the other, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, neither which thou nor thy fathers knew, even wood and stone. There's your Christian and your Muslim again, standing there. The Christian standing there. What she was debating is that everybody's going to heaven. What about the white people? All laws are done away with. But then the Muslims come in and go, what about Gaza? Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. So I thought, you know what? I'll tell you about Gaza. All of this has to do with Gaza being destroyed. Everything I'm bringing out right here. Everything I'm bringing out. And I told you I would prove that we were serving our enemies. So their anger towards us that tore perpetually, they've got rulership over us. Let me keep reading, because I haven't proved it all the way yet, have I? It says that where is it? I'm gonna find it right now. Hold on, because we need to find this. There it is. Sorry about that. Next verse down. So, like I said, we're at 64. It says, "Thou shalt scatter you among all the people from one end of the earth unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods. Neither thy fathers have known wood and stone." And that's part of them having no mercy and showing no pity, because they forced us to follow our God, but they did iconoclast, in other words, replacement theology. They wanted to reteach us our own book with themselves as the God. And it's the same with the Muslims. The Muslims rewrote the same book and then made themselves in the place of God. That's all they're doing. So that's why it says that we're gonna worship these gods, even wood and stone, like other gods. It's part of our punishment. I mean, it's literally listed as the curses against us. And so when you go back over to verse 49, I told you I would prove that our enemy is the people that put us in slavery, right? That are rulers over us right now in this land. So when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 49, it says, "And Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from one end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand." Do you understand that? I mean, do you see? We didn't understand their tongue, which you guys probably don't understand, that when we came here, we spoke Hebrew. And that's a proven fact. That is like 100% documented fact. We didn't speak English. We didn't speak English. We spoke Hebrew. And anyways, going back to Amos now. Now we know what it means when they were talking about that he cast off all pity and anger and did terror perpetually and kept his wrath forever. So when it says kept his wrath forever, that brings you up to date to right now, to us having a yoke of iron upon our neck until we're destroyed. You see what I'm saying? So that's happened, and now we're destroyed. We're starting to wake up again. They want to bring slavery back. But that's not going to happen, like I told you in 28. But see, he's telling you he's not going to turn away his punishment on the Edomites. He's not going to turn his punishment away on Gaza. Everybody's getting dealt with right now. The prophecies are being fulfilled. So going to Jeremiah 47 and 5. We're going to jump around a little bit and go back into Gaza. So it said that so see, like I told you, Gaza was part of Judah's property. That was Judah's land. It was. So you've got to start at verse 1. And it says, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, the prophet, against the Philistines, Palestine, the Palestinians, before that Pharaoh smote Gaza. So they the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. So he prophesied that that they were going to get destroyed. So you jump down to verse 5. It says, baldness is come upon Gaza. In other words, mourning. Why? Because in Amos 1:7, it set a fire upon the palaces of Gaza and burned everything down. They burned everything down. So baldness has come upon Gaza. They're mourning. This lady's like, what about Gaza? Well, this is Gaza. This is what about Gaza. Zephaniah. Gaza has been, this was a prophecy from a long time ago, but people hate the Bible when it starts to come true. They only like the Bible when it's a fairy tale and they don't have to actually do anything. So when you go to Zephaniah 2:4, what does it say? It says, thou shalt be forsaken. For Gaza shall be forsaken, and Ashkelon, and Ashkelon and desolation, and they shall drive out Ashdod at the noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. I love this verse. Woe unto the inhabitants of the sea coast. Going into it just starts making me think about Hezbollah, how this is all spread out into the whole going up and down the coast now. But I'm going to stay away from that. Let's go back over to Micah. It says, woe, Gaza shall be forsaken. So let's go over to the book of Micah and go to chapter 1 and verse 16, I think. Let's start at 15. Yeah, I will bring an error unto you, O inhabitant of Mareshah. Probably said that wrong. He shall come unto Adullam, the glory of Israel. Make thee bald, and pull thee from thy delicate children. Enlarge thy baldness as the eagle. Who's blowing you up? You think it's, you guys know what, that Israel is just an extension of America. They're working together. But they keep blaming each other back and forth, and then they keep fighting, and then everybody's looking back and forth. It's like, at a certain point, they're just going to blow them both up. But that's why it says that, enlarge thy baldness as the eagle. The eagle has you mourning the most. The eagle represents judgment. For they are gone into captivity from thee. So they're going to make these you other nations and you Edomites are going to be mourning. So right now you see the other nations starting to mourn. You see Gaza being destroyed. I mean, it's in the Bible that it was going to happen. Most people hate that, but it's in the Bible that it's going to happen. That's all there is to it. So Gaza's got to be destroyed. It's not something that is made, oh, you making stuff. No, I'm not making anything up. I'm reading it word for word. If there's a word that needs to be looked up, we're going to do that too. But I'm not trying to, I mean, honestly, you can't get mad at the messenger. You can be mad about the message, but I ain't done nothing to you. I'm just reading the book for what it actually says. See, at the end of the day, I'm going back to my God and my people. And at the end of the day, you got to go back to your God and your people. Whether it be one of the 12 tribes of Israel or it be the other nations. And we can see who you are by the way you receive this word. All right, let me get this really quick, and then we're pretty much done here. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 7. I want to start at verse 5. So Ezekiel 47 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come. The end is come. It watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come. We're living in those end times right now. That's why we're like, the way things are going, we could see the prophecies unfolding at a really fast rate. That's all there is. Let's jump down to verse 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and famine within. I'm sorry. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So if you're out in the field, you're going to get killed in the battle. But if you're in the city, they're going to systematically starve you to death. They actually did that in one of the stories in the book of Joshua, in the city of Gomorrah. But that's what they do. They would starve a person to death. So anyway, I want to jump down a little further to verse 23. Verse 23. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. So wherefore I bring this is verse 24. I just got it. This is beautiful, because this is all about and coming to a nation near you. This is going to happen to all you nations. Gaza is just the first one to pop off and fulfilling these prophecies. So, verse 24, I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. Who's the worst of the heathen? It's the ones that are calling themselves the real Israelites. They rule the world. Remember Job 9:24. So I will bring the worst of the heathens, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make a prompt of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. So these things happen to us, but now we see these prophecies being fulfilled against other nations, and it's happening to them. You know, like when a DJ starts mixing two songs together, and the beat is so close together, you at first can't even tell that he put another song in there, and before you know it, boom, the song is changed and everything has changed right before your eyes. That's what's happening right now. Physically, we're watching things change. We're watching all the prophecies be fulfilled. Physical prophecies are being fulfilled while they distract you with aliens and portals and all these other hidden knowledge, just anything but the Bible right now. Anything but the Bible. Just don't read the Bible and learn that the only thing that's really happening is these prophecies getting fulfilled. And yeah, Gaza, you're like one of the first places to truly be destroyed with your name listed. Guess what? You Ethiopians too that have your Ethiopian Bible, you're listed for the sword. you are already on call for the sword also. So let me go back to 24. Wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. Have you ever seen, and this is crazy because it says that, because we've all watched the video where the Amalekite comes in with his little small hat, and he tells the people, if I don't take your house, somebody else will. Do you know they're doing that now in New Jersey and New York? They're making up fake land deeds and stealing black people's houses that they've been paying for 50, 60 years. All their life they've been paying on this house. And these people come in with a fake land deed, take their house, and nobody does anything about it. Could be you next. They're doing that stuff everywhere. So they're doing that right now to our houses. I will also make the pomp of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be defiled. And that's funny too, because in Gaza everything was defiled, and they took their holy places instantly. Verse 25, destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. We're making a peace treaty, peace treaty, peace treaty, peace treaty, peace treaty. This all started with Gaza, people. This all started with Gaza. Now, what is it? The Hezbollah Strait or whatever, the Strait, whatever it is, where they're getting all the oil out of it. That's where it all comes down to. This is a plan. This was a plan to spike oil prices. This is all, everybody's getting paid except for us, because we're the ones paying. When gas goes up by $2, $3 a gallon, and you don't realize that the only people that are getting rich are the people that own these oil companies. And now they're making the government fight other countries to bring the oil. Yet, when you look at who owns the oil companies, it's the same dudes that are wearing the fucking small hats. Huh. Let's keep reading. Let's finish out this chapter and then we'll call it a day. Mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. Then shall they seek a vision of the prophet. Too fucking late. But the law shall perish from the priest, and counsel from the ancients. Beautiful. You know why? The law shall perish from the priest, and counsel from the ancients, because they were wicked in the first place. In fact, it tells you that there's going to be a famine. Let me get it. There's going to be a famine, not of food or water, but of hearing the word. Amos 8 and 11. And it says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And so it says, and then they will seek a prophet. Right? It told you then, after all of the after all of the denial, oops. After all the denial, then they'll seek a prophet. So, where was I? There it is. Sorry about that, guys. I lost my place for a second there. So, it says, mischief shall come upon mischief. So that's happening right now. Rumor shall be upon rumor. We got those things happening. Then, when we see all these things coming to fruition, we want to seek a vision from the prophets. But see, I just showed you that there's going to be a time in Amos 8 and 11 where the prophets aren't going to be around anymore. And it even tells you, if you were to go to verse 10, how it's going to turn the feasts into mourning, the songs into lamentation. Everybody will be wearing sackcloth, which means everybody will be in mourning. Shaved heads represents great mourning, like the loss of life. I will make it like a time of mourning for an only son. Like I said, like the loss of life, an only son. So their days are coming, saith the Lord, I will send a famine in the land, not of a famine of bread or thirst, but of hearing the word of Yahweh. So he's going to take everything away first, like he's doing right now. That's also happening. But then, when he's finished taking everything away, you're going to come over here seeking a vision of the prophet. We're going to be gone already. And then the people that you actually go to, because you're finally going to seek the vision from the people that you thought were prophets, they're prophets, but you got wicked prophets, and it even tells you in the Bible, I will send a lying prophet down. So, but the law shall perish from the priest and counsel from the ancients. So the people that are going to be left, they ain't going to be able to help you like that. The people that are teaching right now, those that you act now while supplies last. That's all I have to say about that. Learn while well, yeah, you should seek salvation while salvation is still available. That's all there is to it. I got one more verse, and then we're closing out. And it reads, it's Revelation. I always bring out the Revelation. I have to, though. In my spirit, to always bring out Revelation. And the reason why I've been doing this all these years, because in Revelation chapter 22, that is the last book of the Bible. In the last chapter, in the last book of the Bible. So when you go down to verse 12, it says, behold, I come quickly, my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. So if Gaza's getting destroyed, it was prophesied. That's according to the works. It's beautiful. But you got to remember in verse 7, it says, behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. So the people that follow the instructions are also going to get a blessing. And the person that follows through with studying and following the laws to the best of their ability according to their knowledge, they're going to receive a reward. And he's going to give every man according to his works that reward. So you aren't going to get the same reward as every other man. Even if you're both teaching, your rewards, everybody's crown's going to be different. And with that being said, Gaza's getting destroyed because it's prophesied in the Bible that Gaza would be destroyed. And with that being said, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope you got something out of this message. Shalom.